60% of Americans say they couldn't cover a $1,000 emergency expense from savings. That number has been consistent across studies for years. What it actually means is this: most households are one car repair, one medical bill, or one job loss away from going into debt. The emergency fund is the financial cushion between a problem and a crisis. This video explains exactly how to build one, how large it should be, where to keep it, and, most importantly, how to make the first $1,000 happen on any income. Let's start with the target. The standard guidance is 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. That's not 3 to 6 months of your full salary. It's 3 to 6 months of the expenses you could not stop paying without serious consequences: rent or mortgage, utilities, groceries, insurance, minimum debt payments, and necessary transportation. For someone spending $2,200 a month on essentials, 3 months is $6,600, and 6 months is $13,200. Why 3 to 6 months and not a fixed number? Because the right size depends on your risk profile. If you work in a stable job with a second household income and strong job security, 3 months is likely enough. If you're self-employed, your income is variable, or you're the only earner in the household, 6 months is more appropriate, because your exposure to disruption is higher and your ability to replace income quickly is lower. Start with $1,000. Stop overthinking it. Most financial frameworks tell you to build the full 3 to 6 months immediately. This creates paralysis. 3 months of expenses is $6,600. For someone earning $45,000, that sounds like an unreachable number, so they don't start. The more practical approach used by most financial counselors is a 2-stage build. Stage 1. $1,000 as fast as possible. This is your starter emergency fund. It covers the most common emergencies: a car repair, a medical copay, a broken appliance. It means the next unexpected $800 expense doesn't go on a credit card. It takes most people 2 to 4 months to reach $1,000 if they're intentional about it. Stage 2. Build to 3 months once your high-interest debt is eliminated. Once the credit cards are gone, redirect the payment you were making on debt toward the emergency fund. You were already living without that money. Where to keep the emergency fund? The emergency fund should be liquid, accessible, and separate from your checking account. Liquid means you can access it within 24 to 48 hours. Not a CD with a penalty for early withdrawal. Not an investment account where you'd have to sell and wait for settlement. A savings account. Separate means it has a physical and psychological barrier between you and routine spending. If it's in the same account as your daily spending money, it will get spent. A dedicated account at a different bank than your checking account creates just enough friction to prevent that. The right account. A high-yield savings account. Current rates of 4 to 5% mean your emergency fund is earning meaningful interest while it sits there. On a $6,600 emergency fund at 4.5%, you earn about $297 per year just for having money parked in the right account. The $1,000 plan for someone earning $45,000. Take home on $45,000 is roughly $3,100 per month. After fixed expenses and debt minimums, let's say $800 in flexible spending remains. To reach $1,000 in 10 weeks. Cut the flexible spending to $700 instead of $800. Transfer $100 to the emergency fund automatically the day after payday, before you spend anything. Find one additional source, sell something you don't use, furniture, electronics, clothing, pick up 1 gig shift per week for 2 months, or cancel 1 or 2 subscriptions you don't miss. An extra $100 per month makes this happen in 5 months instead of 10. The goal is not to suffer. The goal is to establish the habit of having and maintaining this account, because the habit is more valuable than the first $1,000. What counts as an emergency? This is where people fail. They build the emergency fund, then spend it on something that wasn't an emergency. Emergencies are job loss or significant income reduction, unexpected medical expenses, essential car repairs, not upgrades, essential appliance failures, and genuine urgent needs that can't wait. Not emergencies, sale items, travel opportunities that only come once, holiday gifts, elective medical procedures you can plan for, car registration, you know this is coming every year. It goes in a sinking fund, not the emergency fund. Build a sinking fund alongside your emergency fund for predictable, irregular expenses. A sinking fund is a separate savings bucket for things like car registration, annual insurance payments, and holiday spending, costs you know are coming but don't hit every month. Having these covered separately means you never have to touch your emergency fund for something you could have predicted. Replenishing the fund after use. When you use the emergency fund, which is what it's for, the priority immediately after the emergency passes is rebuilding it. Treat the replenishment like the original build. Automate a fixed transfer each month until it's back to your target. If you use $2,000 of a $6,600 fund to cover a medical expense and you can rebuild at $300 per month, you're back to full in 7 months. That's the system. Use it, rebuild it, use it, rebuild it. The emergency fund is not a wealth-building tool, it is a risk reduction tool. Its job is to ensure that your wealth-building activities, investing, debt elimination, retirement contributions, don't get derailed by the unpredictable events that happen to everyone. If you want to know how to choose the right high-yield savings account for your emergency fund, which banks, what rates, and how the accounts actually work, that comparison is the next video on this channel. Subscribe and it'll be waiting. And if you're working on paying off debt at the same time as building your emergency fund, the approach for doing both simultaneously is linked here.